should do it. Finally, this piece of equipment is not as difficult as it looks. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Well, I should admit it, a lot of things have been changed since the last video. But hey, brand new setup, same old me. Might as well just take it for what it's worth. Turns out both Disney and Warner Brothers are not the only animation studios that I was introduced to way back when. It turns out there is a third one, yet not many people have actually discussed about it. Let's talk about Aardman Animations. Yeah, I bet many of you didn't see this one coming. For those who don't know, Aardman is a stop-motion animated studio that told dark stories at the time. Yet, my first introduction to the studio came from two projects instead of one. The first one being Chicken Run, an animated movie about chickens, apparently. So much so, in fact, that the movie had a sequel as a Netflix exclusive. Don't ask me how or why. I never seen it. But let me know how good that was in the comments. The other is an animated series that I am more familiar with. A series based on this British duo, simply named Wallace and Gromit. Now here's a series that I could put myself at ease with. First created by Nick Park in 1989, this franchise is one of the few reliable pieces of media that didn't screw up with modern topics of today. Back when I was a kid, I only saw bits and pieces of The Wrong Trousers from 1993, a year after I was born, by the way, but never got the chance to look at it properly. It wasn't until A Close Shave from 1995 that got me into the franchise, and I actually had a good time with that short alone. Recently though, I went back to the franchise and saw all the short films back then, including the most recent entry from 2008. Just to name a few examples, they had 2 full-length movies, comic books, animated shorts, and even a spin-off for Shaun the Sheep. And, of course, there are a number of video games as well. While most of them were released for PC, the ones that I am more interested in are the console releases, including the one we're looking at today. It was developed by Frontier Developments, a British game company now known for simulation games, including the most recent entry for Jurassic World. It was between this and the movie game that have different publishers that was stored in for the gaming shelves. I have never played a Wallace and Gromit game before until now, so this should be a sense of nostalgia. But what I find is a lot more different than that. At any rate, let's take a look at Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo. The story begins with Wallace and Gromit having a nice morning as usual when they realize that today is Archie's birthday.
Oh, is it his birthday already? Oh, champion! That means a trip to the zoo.
And who is Archie? Well, he's a polar bear that Wallace adopted for the adopted animal event that he got himself into. Oh, that's cute. Wait, I don't remember that polar bear in any of the short films at all. Must have been here for the game purposes or something. Anyway, when they arrived at the zoo, they could see that the place was locked down.
This is a fine how do you do for the books. I'm going to speak to the authorities about this.
Just as Wallace contacting the authorities about this mess, Gromit spots a truck with Archie inside.
SOS Archie, the little lad's in trouble.
Archie addressed that he needs help being rescued from Wallace and Gromit's greatest nemesis.
Feathers McGraw. But he's supposed to be doing porridge in the penguin house.
Yeah, that's an obvious reference to The Wrong Trousers back then. Almost as if this game was a direct sequel to that short film. After building a Trojan penguin and using it to sneak inside, they realized that not only that they had to save Archie from the pesky penguin, but also have to save the zoo animals that were also being taken hostage.
And now I can't see anything. You haven't got another 10p, have you, lad?
In this platformer, players only get to play as Gromit here, leaving Wallace as the only assisting character. Gromit can do acrobatics, while Wallace can repair devices using random tools and bolts that were left behind all over the place. The strange thing is, the bolts can't be saved over to the next level and are somewhat overshadowed by the amount of tools.
Oh, 3 nuts, lad. Better collect them. Never know when they'll come in handy.
Information points are carefully placed throughout. There are many of them across the first level of the game, which gave out basic instructions on how to play, use ropes, and just breakdance if you have to. But other times, they didn't specify advanced moves like a different high jump while moving or how to use a high jump. Definitely needed a manual for those kinds of moves.
Dead handy, that.
With enough tools and or bolts to grab, Wallace can build new weapons for Gromit to use. The first weapon to obtain right off the bat was a banana gun, capable of shooting targets that were hard to reach. But other weapons can do that too.
Look at that action, Gromit. May I present the telescopic banana gun?
This one can also distract monkeys for a quick snack, unless you want to get hit by a coconut. That would really be underselling it. The porch gun was different than most.
There you go, lad. One porridge gun. Now's your chance to be a serial killer.
Acting as a Gatling gun, it can either plug up machinery so you can gain access to neural pathways, or activate machinery instead to open up doors and such. It's also effective against targets that were even harder to reach.
There you are, Gromit. From soup trolley to super gun, a high-velocity self-loading veggie launcher.
The turnip launcher packs a wallop filled with destructive habits, capable of destroying reinforced gates or modified turrets. But hey, destroying these kinds of robot penguins with a launcher? So satisfying. Aside from weapons, Gromit can also use different types of items that were able to help. The most underused item for me are the spring boosts, only capable for double jumping, and it's only mandatory to stop a drill from giving players a hard time.
Oh, yeah, well, careful with that task. Well, they appear to be functioning normally.
Others, like the fire extinguisher and the torch, are also effective if you don't know how to handle those.
Torches can be used to see in dark places. They can also be used to set fire to things.
Once you finally get your hands on Feathers McGraw's remote control device, you can activate certain machinery that it'll only respond with a push of a button whenever there is a device logo on it. There are a number of times where Wallace and Gromit had to use vehicles on occasion, such as the gyrocopter, able to fly across the level tunnel and able to shoot down targets with a porridge gun attached to it. The Podolo is a lot different, able to sail and shoot down targets with a turnip launcher attached to it. Now that I think about it, the boss battle itself against Feathers McGraw's submarine definitely reminds me of the Sly Cooper hacking minigame at times. There are gold coins scattered throughout the game, except the final level and the boss battles themselves. Finding a good number of coins will unlock a certain clip in the extras menu, including short clips from the wrong trousers and a behind the scenes video. If you find them all, you'll unlock a short cartoon from Wallace and Gromit's Crackling Contraption series. But then again, you can find that short on the internet somewhere now. There are a number of times when bonus levels are cleverly hidden in most levels of the game. In most cases, there are at least 1 or 2 more gold coins to obtain. I forgot to mention this as well, but if you ran out of health or fell to a bottomless pit, this noise happens. It was more embarrassing the more I played this stupid game. At one of the bonus levels, like at the halfway point through in this game, I pretty much just gave up and refused to collect everything 100% because I already know those clips are easier to watch either on the streaming services, Blu-ray, or just find a clip online if you have to. The level design seems simple at first, but it'll escalate very quickly as the game progresses. But for what it is though, it's fine. At times, it feels like Frontier developments try to make this a good amount of challenge for a kid's game, but for others, especially in the bonus levels, it'll quickly become more of a tedious chore to do. Regardless of the mixed opinion about it, I think it's decent enough to pass until the movie game smoothed things out better than what it should have done in the first place. At the time, Peter Sallis was instantly recognizable as the cheese-loving inventor, Wallace.
Fret ye not. We'll soon turn the turntables on the pesky pest. Whoa! Oh, another blinking close shave. But at least I didn't lose me trusty flathead.
His performance here is still good, but there are other pieces of media that he has made a bigger impact. Although both the short film A Matter of Love and Death and the limited series World of Invention were his last performances as the inventor before his passing in 2017, he managed to bring such talent filled with charm, charisma, and wit. This certainly wouldn't be the last time we actually get to hear his voice, because his performance reaches outside of the Wallace and Gromit franchise, including other films and TV shows, radio podcasts, and several other video games as well. Take Curse of the Were-Rabbit, for example. That film was my proper reintroduction to the Wallace and Gromit franchise, but that deserves a separate video of its own. As far as the game is concerned, it does capture the overall feel of the franchise well. It still managed to maintain the overall look and atmosphere, that it even added some stop-motion camera shots in some areas, which does add some familiarity and nostalgia from the short films. The main game feels like a good amount of challenge for the most part, but regarding to the bonus levels here, that's an entirely different story. The biggest problem with them came down to the level design and structure. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but basically it feels clumsy and hard to navigate, especially going into these levels blind. There are some crucial problems with Wallace and Gromit themselves. Not the franchise, far from that, but the overall character features in terms of what the game is going. Let's start off with the dog. Most of the time, the controls for Gromit feels fine, until you realize that some of them feel unresponsive or misplaced. The jump button lagged off more often, the triangle button kept calling Wallace instead of using the info point, and obviously, Gromit's wall jump move didn't do much to improve the gameplay. As for Wallace, no disrespect for Peter Sallis, I really admire his performances for the character, and I really enjoyed that through and through. But in terms of gameplay, he is a liability. Letting him repair devices and recycle things is a game mechanic here, but Wallace doesn't do jack squat outside from those things. Can't jump, can't swim, constantly barks louder than Gromit does, and can't rely on himself to do better. But hey, at least kicking the summer sausage out of the cheese-loving knucklehead sure was a relief.
Hey, careful there.
Normally, I don't do the best and worst levels anymore, because of different opinions on certain types of levels that people would actually say otherwise. But for this particular occasion, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this one. The last level in the game was absolutely the worst. The Diamond-O-Matic easily became one of the worst final levels I've ever come across in terms of the video game I've looked into so far. All this effort just to finally rescue Archie. Seriously not worth it. as a kid's game by itself, it is a lot more frustrating as it is.
Mind you, every cloud has a pot of gold with a silver lining. It smashed a way out for us. Come on, Gromit.
Going into a Wallace and Gromit game should feel nostalgic at first glance, but looking back into Project Zoo, now I know why that this is not an easy verdict to pinpoint. Okay, look, I enjoy Wallace and Gromit as much as the next guy, but a proper continuation like this should have gone unnoticed. The game itself is very divisive by the general public, but I honestly think that Project Zoo is not a bad game, but it's certainly not a good one either. It is a dead even split for me, who just wanted to have a good time playing this video game but ended up feeling stuck up by a molten cheese brick. Casual players should skip this one because of the lack of functionality and camera control at times, though that barely does happen. As a kid's game, I would approach this one with caution.
Top notch, Gromit.
Go on, ruffle some feathers. Ugh. This is a stop-motion animated project. What are you talking about? In all honesty, this trash should have gone lower if it weren't for the overall feel of the franchise and Peter Salus's performance carried this whole thing. But for what it is, this is definitely disappointing. On the bright side, the franchise has managed to maintain a sense of peace, awareness, and proper storytelling that has been evolving over the years. Carefully, though. And that remains to be one of the more innocent franchises in the film industry. To be clear, this isn't the only time that these two characters have a video game under their belt. One of these days, I'll give Wallace and Gromit another chance. But this time, for redemption, for a better video game. Speaking of which, I did say that I was going to look at this particular game at some point, but enough time has already been passed since the last time I covered this particular franchise. So you know what? No more stalling around, because next time, Naruto officially returns with Uzumaki Chronicles 2. In the meantime, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It really helps to get the word out. Like this video if you really enjoy these kind of content. Ring the bell to get notified so you don't miss anything else. All these great things. Really appreciate you guys. Just, yeah, do what you have to. In the meantime, I hope we get to see you guys in the next video. Assuming that I can get through all the ninja nonsense again. We'll just have to see. Thanks again for watching. Have yourselves a good day.